Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika. Here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today is my witchy review, and I'm reviewing this here, The Witch's Path, Advancing Your Craft at Every Level by Thorn Mooney. I understand that I think she has like a social media situation as far as like YouTube or something like that. I have not checked that out yet. I am just a fan of the author. That's how I know her. So that's what I'm going to get into. So this book was actually right on time. Synchronicity, things happen for a reason. There is no such thing as coincidence. And I truly believe that I needed to read this book during this time in my life, like very present tense. I haven't been feeling very well, and you might hear the nasal. I haven't been very well lately. It's just a cold because it hasn't progressed. It's been the length of a normal, like just a run-of-the-mill cold. I don't think it's COVID. I don't think it's anything like that. And if I'm wrong, just so you know, I've been vaccinated. If you're like kind of wondering about that, I got it months ago. So if by chance I didn't have a cold, I didn't get tested because I've kind of just been listening to my body to see if it got worse, then I would go get tested to see. Long story short, it feels like just a regular head cold. So that's how I've been treating it as such, and treating the symptoms and, water, vitamins, all that sort of stuff. And I'm getting better. So this is actually, this voice that you're hearing is normal. It was sounding real crazy a day ago. But anyway, moving on. The Witch's Path. Let me just get into this book. I feel like she talks in a very conversational way, or she writes in a very conversational way, in a narrative way. That's my sweet spot. I like a book where I feel like it's a conversation. It's almost like a YouTube video. That resonates with me. And I'm just looking at some of the things I highlighted from the book. She said, "So no, I am not normal. If you're reading this, there's a better than fair chance that you're not either. In this way, witchcraft, though it is many things to many people, is traceable and recognizable. Witches are scary, period." That right there, when I read that, resonated with me. And that was from a section of the book where she just, in the beginning, just talking about, witchcraft being defined and all that sort of stuff. So just reading that. So no, I am not normal. I know I'm not normal. She talks about the author, that is, in the book, where she says, she has like a regular, cubicle 9-to-5 type job. And that people would be very surprised to realize that she's a witch, and that, people will say things like, "Oh, you seem normal. You don't look weird. Like, you don't look like you're into that weird stuff." And, as it turns out, a lot of us look normal. We look a certain way, and people think, we're not one of the weird ones. And I really relish in being abnormal, weird. I like some of my quirks. And the author kind of reminded me about that. She also touches on, like, I love this book. I keep saying it was right on time, but she really talks about those who are at the beginning level of witchcraft, their witchcraft journey. And she talks to you at the same time if you've been practicing for a while, and if you're a coven leader, a high priestess, and all that sort of stuff. And it really hit home when she talked about, you read books on witchcraft, and it feels monotonous. It feels like it's the same information. It's the same one-on-one information, blah, blah, blah. She pointed out, do you ever really, for those of us who've been practicing for some time, have you read it the way the author intended? Like, did you do the exercises at the end of the chapter? Did you do the steps? Because if you had, you might have a totally different feeling about the book, and it might hit different, basically. And the fact that she pointed that out, because I'm reading through this and I'm not doing any of that stuff that she's suggesting. I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'll just file that away for a later date, or when, as a resource. And she literally addressed that after I was reading that part. and I made that mental connection to myself, mental note. She wrote, yeah, you probably are doing that right now with this book. And, you're probably thinking, oh, I'll come back to it. But that's the thing. Don't do that. Just do it. And it's just that reminder for those of us who practice. This is a doing type of spiritual path. This is not, yeah, you can read the books, but even if you're on your first book or this is your first channel and you just happen to come across my channel, man, sit this stuff down, pause, go do some actual spells, find a spell and do it. Like, stop tripping about feeling phony, feeling fake, like it's not real. Casting a circle is hard. I remember stressing myself about casting a circle years ago. I thought that was like so difficult, and I thought I needed the things. You don't need anything. Use your imagination. Fire, water, all that stuff, like call quarters. Do how you're going to do it. It doesn't matter if you don't say all the right words. If you don't do the whole angel thing, because I don't get into that. I was going to say Michelangelo. Michelangelo, Archangel Michael. Shut up. Forget it. Anyway, the point is, I don't say that, judging by the way that I'm struggling getting these words out. I don't talk like that. I don't think like that, because I don't, that's not my speed, getting into the, I don't even like angel references, to be honest with you. I try to keep myself far away from anything in that Abrahamic sitch at all. I don't want no parts of that. So anyway, I'm on a tangent. And I got this cold medicine in me, so I'm really going to be tripping. Anyway, the book. She really kind of stresses and gets into that. And I appreciate that, because I need somebody like me, I kind of need that like in-your-face approach when I'm reading some of these books. Good afternoon, Tiguchi. I need that in-your-face type of narrative writing sometimes, because I read it and it's like, oh, that's nice, and I'll just file it away and put it on my shelf as that's nice, it's a resource, and I might forget to get back to it. She made it impossible for me to feel that way about this book. She's like, no, I see you, like that's how I feel like she was coming through in the book. Then in a section about deities and stuff like that, hello gemstones, she writes here, and I have a highlighted section, it's certainly true that not all witches worship gods. And it's also true that many identify as non-religious entirely. This, however, should not be taken to mean that they don't practice ritual, hold beliefs, and partake in other activities that outsiders would recognize as religious. That was pretty much most of my practice. that paragraph right there sums up pretty much most of my practice. Just because I didn't worship or revere or work with for a while, ancestors, any sort of goddess or god, I started with Wicca. I try to go hard with the lady and the god, or the god and the goddess. It just never really hit. It just, I was trying, but it didn't work. And I just let it alone and just did the magic. Which, by the way, she has a whole section on stop making it seem like the magic part of witchcraft is just the addendum. It's the extra. Don't you love, and no shade, like seriously, if this is you, but I always sit back and I think to myself, when people say, well, I don't do spells, like they think they're better than the rest of us witches who do want to cast spells or cast spells. Well, I'm more, I do ceremonial rituals, and, I celebrate the holidays, the Sabbats, the high holidays. I do that sort of stuff. And, it's more of a spiritual thing. It's earth-based. And I hear a lot of these witches, and you know what? Kudos to you. You won. You're more witchy. You're more elevated than the rest of us. No, I'm doing a spell. I'm casting actual spells. I don't think I'm silly. I don't think the rest of us are silly who are casting spells. We're doing jar spells. We're doing candle spells. We're putting different herbs together, and we're burning them, and we're putting our intentions out. Yeah, and we're doing it, and we're not proud. I mean, we are proud. Oh my God, I can't talk. We are proud. And we don't feel like we're less than because we're working magic for our greater good, for us to just, exist in this world and maybe a little bit more comfortable. It's okay if you want to do that. But anyway, for those who seem to just want to connect with the deities and things like that, which I think is cool. That's fine. Listen, there's room for all of us. I just, for me, it took a long time for me to work in that part of it. And that's a more recent thing for me. First of all, the ancestral reverence started, 5-6 years ago for me. And before then, it wasn't, I didn't do anything with it. And as far as working with a specific goddess, I had connections, but I didn't like set up an altar. I didn't do all that sort of stuff. Because I had like I don't want to say I tried. I was trying throughout the years, because I don't want to say I didn't do anything, because I did. But I felt like I didn't like have a go-to goddess where I felt like I could go to her anytime and I could just like, I don't know, really work with her on a constant basis. I never had that until recently. Dolores Oddly says, yeah, I've seen a few YouTube videos recently which people claim to be witches, but they say they don't cast spells. I'm really confused about that. Yeah. Joseph says, I feel like spell casting is important. It keeps me connected to my practice. Aries goddess, hello. Yes, I don't want to like make it seem like, oh, I'm attacking them or they're doing it wrong, because I don't want to get into who's doing what right. By the way, the author talks about that too, like deciding what's right, what's wrong, who's to say you're doing it the right way, all that sort of stuff. But I feel like for those who sit in that space and the way they explain it, to me, it always feels like they feel like they're more elevated. And this is not even like a newer thing. Over the years, YouTube is a funny place, because I've seen people who identify as witches. There's one, and this is from like a while ago. I don't even know if she still posts videos. I don't think she does. But she would have like these elaborate videos, and I would really get into it. And I think she had like a school, or she was doing some sort of coaching. I don't know. Anyway, this is from years ago. And I really was digging like her vibe, and I was learning a lot from her. And I remember at one point she was like, I don't even cast like spells. You get to a point you don't even need to really do that, once you're elevated. And I remember just thinking years ago, man, I hope I never get to that point. Wherever this elevation that you've entered, I hope I never reach it, because I like casting spells. The Princess Diary says, that takes the craft out of without though. I want to get my hands dirty, feel the candle flame, stand in my power. I don't know. I believe witchcraft is more than ceremonial stuff. Out of witchcraft. I got you. I agree. Like, I don't want to get whatever this plane of existence that you're on, like, you keep that. I'm over here. I want to stay over here. I want to be casting. I like that part. There's power in there. There's more to it than that. Dolores Oddly says, I haven't read this book yet, but I really loved her first one. See, I didn't read her first one. I wanted to, but now that I've read this, I think I'll go into the other one and read that one as well, about Wicca. I was interested because I started there, and I have love in my heart for Wicca. I'll always have a place in my heart for that. So yeah, that was that section. And then finding your witchcraft. She has a section called It's an Exercise. And she's like, she breaks down the exercise portion at the end of the chapters into the elements air, fire, water, and earth, excuse me. And I highlighted a couple things that I wanted to talk about, where she says, she's telling you to keep a magical journal, guys. So fun fact, I've been screaming that as well. And she even says, no excuses, no matter what type of witchcraft you practice, introspection will serve you well. And one of the most readily available ways to get to know yourself, your goals, your desires, your fears, your hangups, is by reflecting on yourself. Your book doesn't have to be fancy, and she goes into that. It doesn't even have to be a book. She says the same thing I say. You could type on a computer, you could dictate through a voice recorder. Nobody has to listen to it. Like, people don't want to take the time to do that in this whole witchcraft thing, and I feel like you are really not serving yourself well by not keeping notes. I'm learning how to do spells, and I'm loving it. Great. And then I ordered this book too, should arrive Monday. Great. Yeah, I just can't. It's easier for me to read. I'm finding I like the paper. I like the books. I like the actual paper in my hand. But realistically, at night when I can't sleep or early in the morning, this thing works so great. And I just got upgraded my Kindle. So I'm trying to get some use with it since I just spent my little coin on getting a newer one, the Kindle Fire HD 2021 version or whatever. So I'm trying to get some use out of it. Let's see, what else did I want to point out? Oh yeah, developed. I'm trying to get to this next section. It was something on here I wanted to share with you guys. Oh yeah, this resonated with me too. There's in that same section and part of the exercise that she's suggesting you do in the water category, which is, about emotions. She says, think back on all the things that excited you when you first began studying and practicing. And I was like, I took a moment and I really thought about it. If you do have magical journals from back then, that's a great time to look at it. In the Safe Place for Witches, the Discord channel, we had a fun grimoire, share your grimoire party. It was a virtual party. And I pulled out my old book of shadows. And let me tell you, when that was done, I kind of went back and looked at it. And it took me back to just some years ago. And I was like, dang, wow. It's fun to look back and see where you were, even if it's 2, 3, 4 years ago, to really kind of just look at where you were part of that journey. Obviously, if you've been practicing for some time, you can go back even further. It's cool. But remembering what excited you, the stuff that, I don't know, kind of got you up and kind of kept you thirsting for a little bit more knowledge. She kind of taps into that and used that as part of an exercise. And I think that's really cool to be able to do that and get me thinking like that, because it kind of gets you, if you're in a rut, and she addresses that in the book too. If you've been practicing, you're in a rut, this is a good book to read if that's the case. Let me see, there was some other stuff in here. And I'm just looking at it on the computer so I could display the book, which I realized I should probably make it stop timing out. But I haven't gotten to all the features on the Kindle Fire yet. My brand new Kindle Unlimited Fire, whatever the thing is called. Okay. The Sacred Space section. This is another one that stood out. And it's a lot more to this book, so I'm not giving it all away. She talks about a lot of different topics. But she says it's easy to get lost in materialism and forget that the point of an altar isn't to collect followers on social media or to display expensive tools you don't really need. Let's knock on my IKEA fake wood. Okay, can we get into that for a second? Dolores says, one of my biggest regrets is getting rid of old journals in decluttering frenzy. Don't do it. No, don't do that. I'm clutching pearls. Girl, I still keep my old planners, everything. It will take a while for me to finally get rid of the guts of some of that stuff. And I usually have skimmed through it to see, is there anything here that I need to keep? I'm weird about that kind of stuff. But I think that's the Cancer in me. I have a Cancer moon. That sentimental stuff, I get real, don't touch my stuff. Don't touch my journals and my old planners and stuff like that. It has, I don't know, a sentimental value to me. So I probably won't get rid of it. So no, she's right. Don't do it. Don't get rid of that stuff. Put them in a safe place. Don't have them just out and they get messed up. Put them in a safe place, but keep them. Keep them. Yes, I'm encouraging you to hoard things. That's part of my practice, apparently. But yeah, so yeah, it's easy to get lost in materialism. Yes, it is. Do you know, I'm going to say this about my journey. I'm speaking for myself. When I first started, it's not that, I had money, but my kids were younger. So money was divided up a little different in my household. I didn't spend, a lot of money on myself. So it was more about the kids, bills, food, that sort of stuff. So, I didn't have a budget, and I a lot of times I didn't work. I did work off and on throughout the kids coming up, but for the most part I didn't. More years that I didn't than I did. So you had to budget more and stuff like that. So anyway, I didn't spend a lot of money. It's basically where I'm getting at. I didn't have a lot of money to spend that I was willing to allocate to witchcraft stuff. I felt like that was too wasteful, which is a whole other thing. In hindsight, I should have went and bought some stuff because it was important to me, but that's another conversation about motherhood and, putting everybody else first and blah, blah, blah. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. But anyway, but I will say this, being in that position makes you work a little harder at improvising. It makes you work a little harder at still accomplishing the same goal, but using less. So it's really hard to get into materialism and stuff like that when it's just not a possibility for you to buy these things. So you're going to rely more on substituting things, using more practical things in the place of your witchy tools and all that sort of stuff. Like, I remember creating, using a butter knife and trying to make that into the athame, and it didn't quite work out, so I didn't keep it. But I remember trying to do something like that before, in the early stages, and just setting up different materials for an altar cloth. I remember doing all that sort of stuff, and it didn't come together. It did at the moment, but it didn't last. It wasn't something I could keep and show you or anything like that, because it didn't hold up. But at the time when I was able to use it, I felt very proud about it, and I was able to use it, and I was able to do it. So it kept me, I don't know, it made me happy. It made me feel proud. And, it's a good vibration to be on, to be practicing and doing rituals and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. Now, I got a little more coin to spend. I do. My kids are no longer little kids. Money shifts, priority shifts. So, by the way, if you right now, and you are in my old situation, you got kids, house bills, stuff like that, and you feel like, is there ever going to be a time I get to keep my money? Yeah, you will. I promise. It's going to come. I used to think like that too. And I'm like, dang, I feel like I see money. I know there's money coming in. The day will come. They will be able to support themselves. And I promise you, even if they don't make a lot of money and they support themselves, they don't come to you for everything. And if they do, you got some, problems. I want to check on that. But my kids, for the most part, they're good. So you get to relax and breathe, and you might be able to spend some money on, some fun witchy stuff more often than not. I'm at that point in my life. Okay, you said the Princess Diary says I made an athame with a butter knife too. Okay, so I'm not the only one. Yeah, I was working some things. I was doing some things. But anyway, you will have money one day. Trust me, you will have a little extra coin to spend on these witchy things. Which brings me to my point. That is where I'm at now. It's easier for me to get into the materialism thing. Now, I share things here with you guys on this channel often, and I like sharing. It's not like a thing where I look at it like, it's never from a bragging point of view. I don't think like that. It's more like, I see you guys as like my fellow witches in my community, and I'm like, hey, look what I got. Let me show you this new thing. Let me show you this cool thing. Let me show how you can use it and how I plan on using it. Or I'm even honest and I'll say, hey, I bought this and I don't like it. It's not working, whatever the situation is. Like, I like doing that. So even though I'm doing that, I have to be very careful, because it's easy to kind of cross a line into just buying a bunch of stuff because it's new and shiny, but you don't use it. So I'm almost there. I sense it with myself, and I'm aware. So I'm kind of pulling myself back a little bit. I'm not just buying things online because it's like, oh, that's cool. Like, sometimes I'll just look. There's no need or urge. I'm just randomly looking. And that's not always a positive thing. And then there's the idea about sharing it, putting it on Instagram or wherever else, or here on YouTube. Are you just setting up your altar to make it pretty just for the purposes of sharing it? Even if you don't have like a channel or something like that, like, you got to watch that. We're in a different age now with witchcraft. And that is something we got to, check yourself. It's not for me to tell you or for you to tell somebody else. It's more like, she's the author. I feel like she's reminding you, hey, look, I mean, it's nice, but maybe you got all the stuff and it's not even resonating with you. You just like the image. You just like the way it looks for others to look. It's not even about you enjoying it. It's the way others view it that really kind of gets you going. And if that's the case, that's not cool. You want to rein that in. I'm not there yet. And I say yet because I got to watch it. I'm checking in on myself. But this book was a nice reminder, like, all right, now come back to your original point. You know, you don't need all the things. So yeah, that's something I'm being mindful of, and I'm glad I read that in this book. Just another reminder, like with the materialistic stuff, to chill with that a little bit. Even a Dollar Tree, you got to be careful. It's still material. It's still consuming and getting a bunch of stuff. Are you using it? Do you check back in with it? I have to ask myself that sometimes. I'm not saying I'll all of a sudden just stop buying things. Like the idea of a no spin in a planner world, that's a thing. A no spin like week or no spin month, like that upsets me. I don't want to do that. I'm not saying I'm not going to spend anything. I'm just saying that I'm aware and I'll watch it. She goes on to talk about how circumstances, your environment, your surroundings impact your witchcraft practice, including people. Like this book, she goes in. This is something, if you're new or you've been practicing for a while, I really think this is something you want to add to your library. This is one of the ones you need to get. She's going in a little bit, and I'm paraphrasing this section, but she's going in about the type of people in your community that you call, in your community. You got to be careful. People who are like sucking the life out of you, with whatever they're going through, like that will affect your witchcraft. Your job, your job that is like your 9 to 5 that feels like it's robbing you of your joy and wanting to live. Yeah, that's going to affect your witchcraft. And she gives some practical solutions to dealing with that. So that's something, that section was actually really helpful. Gratefully, I don't deal with that at this point in my life. I am back in the traditional workforce, and I'm at home, the environment and I'm learning to adjust with corporate world and how that operates, but it's in a virtual capacity. So I'm very grateful for that. So I don't just turn your camera off, on your Zoom call so people can't see your face and you'll get by, because I know my face does not lie. It shows how annoyed I'm probably am with people. So I make sure I turn the camera off because I can't hide the expressions. And I'm learning to watch my tone. Not in a way where I feel like I'm not being able to express myself, but being in a way where I want to be clear. I want you to understand where I'm coming from, and I don't want it to get confusing because of a tone. Yes, I am annoyed, but I'm annoyed because I feel that this is not okay, or your behavior or something that that you're putting out doesn't make sense, and here's why. Like I want to project that more so than just the emotion. So I'm careful to learn how to watch how I express myself, because my normal way of expressing myself is just to say what I want to say, and I really don't care about my tone. But I realize in this whole corporate thing, you have to be careful. I've already crossed lines, said things, and I may have been offensive, I realize, in hindsight. A little too blunt. I don't know, I'm going to be like the rest of the people and blame it on my sign. I'm an Aries. That's what we do. We're too blunt. Oh, well, now let me stop. But I'm aware and I'm trying to adjust. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I don't want to come across as like a bully or, like I'm not cooperative. But at the same time, I'm very aware that there's this standing look or persona when it comes to Black women that no matter how you come across, people for some reason assume that you're aggressive. I am starting to pick up on that, by the way. Oddly enough, not with me. I'm witnessing this with other people at work. And I wonder if that Black woman knows it. But then that's a whole other story. But yeah, every time she like passionately talks about something, and it's not like aggressive, it's passionate. There's this white man that works there that is like, he comes in and it's like, to me, it's like he's always undercutting it a little bit. I don't get that. And I'm like, I know she's got to notice that he's doing that. I don't know, for me, and again, I don't know, that would be a struggle for me, to be in that position, and I don't know, I don't know, I don't like stuff like that. And again, being in Aries, it will be hard for me to just eat that and not say anything. I don't care what's going on, what my job is. Yeah, I'm at this point in my life, is knowing what I know now and being a witch and all that. I will not allow anyone to make me feel less than. So in a situation like that, like, I'm going to address you. If there are, and I'm going to be careful how I address you. I can keep professional. But if you already have assumptions about me anyway, it doesn't matter how professional I try to come across. You'll think, I'm raging at you anyway. That type of situation. So I'm going to say what I'm going to say, because you already have your mind made up about me. And if it escalates to me possibly, losing my job, I'm suing. That's just where I'm at this point in my life. That's where I'm at. I don't know about y'all, but that's where I'm at. Welcome, my sisters, Aries. Yes, like, at this point, you don't cross people like us who is like, oh, okay, and then I'll sue. Yeah, it's not about going off and mouthing off at somebody and acting crazy. No, use the legal system. Yeah, and I got a little Scorpio in me too, so I'll want revenge. I'll wait. It's a heck of a combination. Anyway, she has a section about learning the land. This touched me because, again, this book was right on time. She asked these questions: research and record the answers to the following questions. And it's about basically your land, where you are right now. And she's talking about, one of the questions is, how many names have been given to the land you live on? Now, I live in Arizona, and it's a newer area, technically, compared to the rest of the country, because, y'all, about how the Wild West was the last frontier here, so, there are towns here on the West, but there was a lot of land and a lot of just dirt in between, because they were so busy, building up on the Northeast, and then eventually they kind of skipped over to California. But these places like your Arizona, New Mexico, and all that sort of places, like, it's developing, but there's still more room to develop. And for obvious reasons, climate and things like that, technology makes it more possible to build here. But yeah, anyway, so a lot of the land here would have most likely been Native American, which Mexican, Native American, which that's a whole other conversation. I don't want to get into that about that, because living here, I've become acutely aware of, Native American, Mexican. I'm thinking, but I don't want to get into that, because I don't know a lot, but judging from what I'm hearing and what people are saying that live here, I'm like, isn't that kind of almost the same? I don't want to start no fights. But anyway, yeah, so I'd like to understand more. But she makes it so, like, hey, as a witch, like, get into your land. And she talked about how some of us have this connection to nature, but we're doing it, and I'm talking about me. She's definitely was talking to me. We do it in a way where it's very clean, neat, and from afar. Whether it's our tarot cards or our oracle cards with the wolf on it, whether it's our, beautiful herbal grimoires that we have, but we're not actually touching the nature. We're not getting out and about. She's not saying get out there and try to find a wolf, but, we're really not immersing ourselves in nature. I'm somebody with severe allergies. It's a struggle for me, honestly, getting out into nature. I feel like I'm allergic to nature, so it is a struggle. However, one way that you can she's proposing, is to maybe learn about the land you sit on, that you reside on right now. Dig a little deeper. Who first inhabited this land? What's the climate like? How's it classified? What natural resources have historically been harvested here? Where does the water you drink come from? That sort of stuff. Let me go back here. Princess Diary, yeah, we're perceived as aggressive when we don't conform. Yes. Me too, revenge. I'll wait. That's what I'm saying. I'll wait. I'll sue. I got time. When I was younger, I was more emotional. I probably would just go in the bathroom and cry. Real talk, I would have cried. And I would have felt helpless. And I hate feeling, even when I was younger, I hated feeling helpless. That's a worst feeling. And there's this idea that women seem to like lean into feeling helpless. Not all of us, not me. I don't like feeling victimized or helpless. Like, actually, it incites anger and almost violence in me. Don't do that. I don't like that feeling. I can get very spiteful. As I've aged, I can become very spiteful if I know someone's intentionally trying to make me feel that way. And I will wait, and I will plot to get you back. And it's not I'm not talking about like criminal stuff. Like, I will find a way to get you back in the same way you're getting me back. It'll be above board. I'll figure it out. Again, I don't do stuff like this over just little things. Like, if you're in a work environment and somebody is like seriously undermining you at every turn, you prepare something, you're presenting, and this person is doing this in a public forum at work, that they're intentionally doing that. And if they repeatedly doing it, and by the way, no one seems to notice, you're the only one seem to be affected by this. People notice, by the way, they just don't say anything. Fun fact, in my new corporate job, one of the things that was pointed out in one of my many HR trainings that I had to do was, when it came to LGBTQ, say something. And it was for the racism part too. Just being just standing by and witnessing it, or like sexual assault type stuff, or harassment, not saying anything actually makes you an accomplice. It makes you part of it. So, they say to say something, but see, I'm one of those people, I watch that and I'm like, oh, that's good. I'm glad people are like that. And then there's the HR videos and trainings they put out. And then there's the real life of people just working. And I realize they don't necessarily connect. I don't know. I don't think I'm starting to wonder if anybody's minds could be changed about this sort of stuff, especially some men. I don't know. I think they stay willfully ignorant, some of them. But anyway, she goes and she got this whole list, like, name 5 species of either plants or animals that have gone extinct in your region within the last 100 years. Why did they go extinct? Like, I would not have thought this sort of stuff, but I like that. I like where she's going. She's making you connect, making you think, making you more aware of where you are, and kind of getting in touch with that, instead of just, being on the sidelines and, buying things, but not really connecting. Even though technically you might not be outside to do this, you might have to go outside to get some of this information, or it might encourage you to get in touch, maybe with going to certain parks and, natural museum or something like that, where things are on display in the area. Maybe that's as close as you get to it. I don't know. With me and nature, I'm still learning here. This place is foreign. I tell you, living in a desert feels like what I assume Mars is like. This is a different world. I struggle with breathing here. The sun is ridiculously hot. Even when the sun is down, it is still over 100 degrees outside. And I don't mean like it just went down. I mean like it's 11 o'clock at night and it'll be like 100 degrees, 102. And I'm like, how is this possible? What is heating this place? Like, it just feels like another world. Which is kind of exciting. After I complain about all those things, it's exciting because it makes me want to know more about the area and understand, why is that, and what lives here. And as a witch, what can I connect with here naturally? There's cacti around. All right, I don't connect with cacti. It's cute, but it's not my thing. So what else? Like, I'm on my quest now. Reading this book got me thinking like that. When I was, Dolores Otley says, when I was younger, I was definitely the type who would concede and accommodate as soon as a man raised his voice. But now at 41, I don't put up with any BS. Yeah. And don't let men at work talk down to me. It's definitely Aries energy. I'm an Aries rising. There you go. Yeah. That is something. And by the way, I will say this about signs, like your sun sign and all that sort of stuff. There's this thing that that could be your sign and that could be who you really are. But a lot of us, because of family, society, we have learned to suppress part of ourselves. And something happens in your 40s. I don't care what nobody says. Lots of women are going to tell you it starts in the late 30s, but by the time you hit 40 and you're in your 40s, there's this awakening that occurs where it's you just, I don't want to say you don't care. You do care. You care about a lot of things. That's just the point. You do care. It's easy to say, oh, it means you don't care anymore. No, you care. And the things you care about are what matter. So when someone gets in your space and they come to you with stuff that does not matter, and they're disrupting you from either practicing or living the things that do matter to you, we get a little riled up about that sort of stuff and we won't put up with it. And I guess you could say what we don't care about at that point is that person and their agenda and where they're coming from. Like, we don't have time to dissect all that sort of stuff. We don't care anymore. We've been doing that since we were in our late teens and 20s. All we want is for you to get out of our space and just stop talking to me, stop trying to tell me or correct me or whatever you're trying to do. Just move. And that's kind of my attitude. Like, I don't want to take into consideration your feelings. I just want you to leave me alone and get out of my space. That's kind of where I'm at. And when I do like this is a very calm, nice way, but trust me, it's not calm. T. Gucci says, I love living here in Arizona. However, I can't wait for the fall weather. Exactly. I'm looking forward to it. It's starting to break a little bit right now. Just a little bit. Because I need this heat to slow down. The Princess Diaries says, I'm a city witch. I can't really get out around nature, so I bring it to me. I keep fresh roses, living plants, and I have 5 pets. Oh, yeah. I moonbathe and sunbathe. Perfect. Perfect. That's great. For some of us who probably are kind of a little too on a peripheral of nature, but, you know, that's a good way of accommodating. I like that. I've sensed that within myself. I think I talked about in the last live or recently about needing to get like house plants and things like that. More greenery because of my climate. It's not quite, it's not what I'm accustomed to living in Florida. I felt like there was an easier connection to nature in Florida. I could just go to the beach and I felt comfortable. I felt connected. It's a little different here, and I'm still trying to find my thing, my spot, something here, because when I go outside it's just hot and I just want to go back inside. That's just the truth. But the author is really pushing me to kind of step out of my comfort zone a little bit more, which is good. I need to, and the weather's gonna break and then I can, definitely get into it more. That sunbathing sounds nice though. I like that. I think I might, now that the temperatures are coming down a little bit, that might be an option. There's another section where she's talking about ritual. And she was talking about struggling with doing ritual. And the quote says, or I'll quote, when witches struggle with ritual, it's often because we're having difficulty with matters related to meaning making. Newcomers frequently describe feeling silly, trying to pull off their first rituals, or else worry that they're going to do something wrong. Those who have been around for a long time sometimes grow bored, lose sight of what's important, or else begin to stagnate, the meaning leaching away unnoticed. There's also just a lot of pressure within our communities and our literature to perform elaborate, regular ritual. And for a lot of us, this just isn't very realistic all the time. That definitely resonated with me. Dolores Ali says, yes, in our 40s, there is definitely an awakening in authenticity. Yes, ma'am. There is. There really is. Like, I'm just not for the bull. I'm not. No, I felt like I've put up with enough. I'm done. But anyway, this ritual thing, and I noticed she talked about for the person who another lunar cycle went by and you didn't celebrate. another new moon, another full moon, and you're like, oh man, I didn't celebrate. And this is, again, it resonates because I know I've recently had this conversation on some video or other where I talk about this sort of stuff. And it's definitely, again, from practice of just knowing the only way to fix that is just to do it. Man, you can sit here and beat yourself up about it. You can continue to just lay there, but just do it. And again, it's this attitude that you can read your way into being, not being, doing witchcraft. You can read the books, you can watch the videos, you can do that, but at some point you need to do. You've got to do. And she gets into a discussion, like solutions on addressing those feelings of feeling silly for the newcomer, or losing the ritual, just losing meaning. As she talked about being a high priestess in her coven, and she said that she was doing these elaborate rituals. People would come up to her and they would be like emotional, saying the goddess was with me, I felt this energy, and she didn't feel anything. And she's like, what is wrong with me? And she even accepted that she felt like maybe that's just how it is. Maybe I just don't have this much, maybe I just don't feel things. And that's a crazy way to kind of position yourself. And she realized that, and, she came up with some solutions, and she gets all into that, into the book, on how to address that. But it did make me think about that sort of stuff as someone who, is in this position where now I do work with a covenant. It's like making sure I keep it meaningful for me, making sure that this stuff resonates with me and not me just trying to, create a platform for everybody else to have an experience, to have connections. And meanwhile, I'm just empty. Nothing's happening. And I'm so grateful that she wrote about that, because that actually is something I needed. Again, I'm not there, but I could see how easy it is to shift into that position. So I'm grateful that I read that. Gemstone says, I think that the way to sustain a practice is to keep it simple. I agree. Aries goddess of fire. Question, I live in an apartment and it's hard to see the moon. Any suggestions? What I would say, okay. Yeah, sometimes just the weather makes it hard sometimes to see the moon, I'll be honest with you, let alone the actual location. I don't know, I feel it. I can feel it. If it's something, sometimes, because I remember in Florida this was a thing. Sometimes, because before we left, we lived in a condo for like almost 3 years. And depending on the positioning, I couldn't see it. During those times, I would get in my car and I would just go out. I had no other thing to do. I would just go out until I saw it, and I would sit. Normally, if I went, because I live so close to the beach, I do miss that. I would always see it there. And I would just, sometimes I get out my car, sometimes not. And I didn't bring anything with me all the time. I would just go there and I would just kind of like just talk to the moon. And I would just kind of take that same energy back home if I had a ritual or something like that, or if I do the ritual ahead of time, and then I would go look out. But I'd get in my car until I found it. That's just what I would do. Princess Diaries says, suffering through menopause made me switch up my rituals. I keep them super simple and much more personalized now. I can understand that. Gemstones, and I try to incorporate witching into everyday situations. Yeah, she actually gets into that thing too about she gets into the everyday versus making it more of a practice. It's a whole thing. You got to read the book. I'll leave that to you to read. But anyway, yeah, she gets into talking about incorporating it and what that looks like. For me, incorporating witchcraft, again, if an outsider were to look at it, they might not say, well, what is she doing? That's just regular living. That's not witchy. But it's that stuff that I did that you didn't know. For instance, I'm just trying to think of simple things that I do. Even just, I don't know, when I do my makeup, when I style my hair, when I clean up my house, when I make it, and I decorate it with fall decor and I make it all pretty. That is all part of my magical practice. Keeping the house, making sure the energy isn't stagnant. very witchy to me. That's part of my daily practice, that sort of stuff. It's difficult for a lot of people to kind of wrap their mind around that, because they're looking for, I don't know, fire to shoot out your hands because you say you're a witch. That's not quite it. The magic is really in the everyday things. The magic is in the mundane. A lot of times for our everyday stuff, man, it's an ending. It's knowing that I feel kind of not 100% myself. You can hear it with the nasally voice, and drinking just some simple water, which is like an elixir. As I drink this, it's like I'm talking, but like in my head, I'm just thinking this is going down my throat. This is soothing. This is coating. This is bringing the power of healing energy and all that sort of stuff. Like, this is something I'm thinking about. I'm, gratefully we can do those two things at once as humans, let alone witches. So that's something I'm already doing. And that's, an everyday thing, right? That's how I see it. But yeah, the elaborate rituals and all that sort of stuff, like she gets into that. And yeah, I think there is a lot of pressure, especially because, which I don't think is a bad thing that witchcraft has kind of exploded and it's more popular in mainstream. I don't think that's a bad thing. What I do think kind of sucks is part of it being mainstream is that on social media, you see a lot of people like promoting this idea of what witchcraft is, and that it's you need, to show your altar and all this stuff, and people have these big statues, and it's okay if you have that. First of all, I like that kind of stuff. I look at that and I'm like, wow, that is so cool, that's inspiring. Like, I'm not trying to go out and try to make the same thing in my house though, because that's not me, that's not my practice. But there are some people who see that and have a totally different reaction, and they feel like they're lacking, and they want this altar and they want to do all this stuff, and they want to, have 50 million black candles around them, and all this elaboration and the robes and all that sort of stuff. And until they have all that, it's not good enough. The ritual doesn't really work. That's when you run into a problem. Dolores says, I wonder if you can go to the NASA website. Sometimes they have the live feeds or daily space photos that can help you connect with, at least give a visual. Oh yeah. That is actually another thing for the moon. Being able to see the moon, that's actually a very good idea. Sometimes bring in that technology, pull it up on your computer, and see if you can get that live feed from NASA. That's a very good point. We used to do that when we homeschooled with my kids, and we were working on that particular study. But anyway, yeah, you can definitely do that as well, and pull that up and have it right there on your computer and do your ritual, and it's right there on your, maybe on your laptop or even your phone, and you can still see it. If that doesn't resonate, definitely work on the feeling of it, feel the pull of the energy. That's why I think it's important to keep some sort of record keeping. I know for me, with full moon energy in particular, I feel that energy leading up to it. I feel it by at least a night before or 2 nights before. I cannot sleep. It don't matter how well my sleep schedule is. I could have avoided caffeine. It doesn't matter. I just am going to be up later. There's a certain energy that's going through me right before the full moon, and the night of the full moon. And by the way, right afterwards, I'm okay again. I'm back on schedule. This happens every full moon cycle. Some people become hornier around that time. Some people are a little bit more excitable. They have like this burst of energy. Some people, if you're dealing with like mania and things like that's the time you have to be careful, because you can become very manic at that point. Not very, just manic. Let me see. Good idea. Thank you. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but you don't know that unless you're paying attention. And also your cycle, if you're still getting your period, depending on where you are, if you have a regular period, being mindful if it's around that full moon, it can change, like how it's just not just the flow, PMS, all that sort of stuff. Like, it can be exacerbated because of the energy of the full moon. Yeah, so keep track of all that sort of stuff. But my point is how you feel, regardless if you see it, it's there because you physically feel the effects of it, is what I'm getting at. Something to just be mindful of too. Especially full moon. New moon, I don't get all like that, but that full moon, I can feel it. I definitely feel it. Okay, and another thing that she pointed out, which was I thought was so funny, because I'm using again my Kindle to read this, and I'm like, okay, I'm highlighting. They have a highlight feature if you read any Kindle books or ebook e-readers. You can highlight the text. So there was this point that she said, for this reason, it's always a good idea to read with a pen or pencil in hand, not a highlighter. The act of physically making notes and recording your on the spot thoughts is widely demonstrated to be more conducive to learning than highlighting, which doesn't engage the brain the way so many of us seem to think it does, as I highlighted this point. But she is right. I think that is great sometimes when, maybe not every witchcraft book, this is worth doing it. But there are some books, like once you get into it, you might say, hold on, get a pen and get some paper and actually start writing down things that resonate with you. If you don't want to write it down, if you prefer like a computer situation, maybe copy, paste, if that's possible, that section, and then add, your notes if you want to type it out that way. Or if you don't like writing all that, sometimes there are a lot of points in a book that I want to capture. I might, screenshot it and then print it, paste it like in a notebook, and then write my thoughts underneath, especially if it's like a long paragraph. I don't feel like rewriting all that. So I might like screenshot it, like I said, and just print, like take a Word document, put all these screenshots in on there and print them out, and then paste them in my notebook or something like that, and then write my thoughts underneath of it. The reason that resonated with me. Yep, the full moon is too much for me. I work with the dark moon. For that reason, my energy goes wacky during the full moon. Yeah, if you can harness it, if you can manage it and direct it into something, those times could be great. Like when I'm purposefully, intentionally trying to direct that energy, I can produce some great things. I can be very creative. I don't know, I can get like inner downloads, like I'm receptive as well. Like I can really harness it to benefit me. Other times, if I'm not intentionally doing that and I'm kind of just living my life, I'm not thinking like that, yeah, it can feel like it's way too much energy, too much going on. I'm very aware of everyone else's energy, by the way. It's not even just my own, and that can be a bit much. And then I start, you start participating in the lunacy around you, But as witches, we kind of got to guard that. Get your stuff prepared. Part of being a witch to me is being prepared, making sure you got your crystals on hand that help kind of bring you down and balance you out a little bit. Make sure maybe that's not the time to do certain activities that might, make you lose yourself a little bit. Maybe don't get drunk that night. Like, don't drink too many glasses of wine. Like, if you take, some of us have vices. Whatever your vice is, if it kind of gets you on that, higher level, maybe that's not a good time to do that because you might not be able to manage that high like you're used to. I'm just saying. Dolores says, I'm the same way when it comes to the new moon, cannot sleep at all, and I never figured it out until I started keeping track of my planner. Then I realized it was always seems to happen around the new moon. Isn't that crazy? Like, one day I noticed, I was like, why can't I? It's like, there's no reason. Like, this is a regular night, and by the way, when I made that connection, I wasn't doing anything. It was like yet another full moon went by. I didn't make any ritual gesture or anything about it, and I was like, okay. I get it now. So because of the coven I'm in, we always do something for full moon and new moon, so I'm not gonna forget it. I always do something. For me, the biggest thing is making sure I stay connected. Like I said, back to the author's earlier point about making sure these rituals you do have meaning, making sure you have some sort of connection. So that was a wake-up call for me. So I'm glad I read over that. But yeah, I'll probably reread this and make notes or the things I highlighted, I'll make my notes about it, because it's stuff I don't want to forget that I read in this book. you'll probably feel the same way. Oh, I thought I saw another one. But yeah, there's that. So that's the book. I don't want to give too much away. Get the book, guys. This is one of the ones you want for your collection. So quickly, bam, I got this from Five Below. You guys have probably seen this around. I did. I just didn't buy it. Let's just be honest. But I finally bought this book, Moon Magic, Your Complete Guide to Harnessing the Mystical Energy of the Full Moon, or the Moon, excuse me. I've been reading it actually, and I'm digging the information that's in here. So actually, this is $5. Five Below, love this. I picked this up, chakras and self-care, because I'm really leaning into, this is a season of self-care, and I thought this was a great time to invest in this. I actually don't own any books specifically that talk about chakras, so that's one. And so I said, hey, yeah, I might get this because I would like to dig a little bit more deeper into this. So pick this up. Then I got the Guided Tarot, which for seamless readings, a beginner's guide to card meaning spreads and intuitive exercises. I like to get this sort of stuff because I like to stay on my game. And sometimes, actually, it's funny because I bought this before I read her book, finished her book, The Advancing Witchcraft. And you know, she talks about doing this sort of stuff to kind of just even if it's a beginner's book on a specific subject, maybe kind of just like come in anyway and just like kind of immerse yourself and get into it. You might, it might spark something new. It might spark some new way of thinking or new way of approach. And anyway, so I picked this up and I thought this would be good and just a different way of looking at it. This book is really cool. It's got some cool spreads in it too. So, yeah, I said, why not? And another book I did not have was the Astrology Dictionary, Cosmic Knowledge from A to Z. I thought this was a good one to have. It's not a really big book, but like certain things you hear about and people talk about and you can't remember how to define it, but I don't know. I thumbed through it when I was in Five Below and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I like this. Gemstone says, Dr. Joe Dispenza's books are great. They aren't witchy, but I use the techniques anyway. Oh, that's good to know. I have to look that up. I found the Guided Tarot at my local store. I like how it's laid out. Yeah, I like it too. I like that. Like, conjunction. You hear about the terms conjunction, stuff like that. It's not, I've heard it, I've understood it, but I don't know, I'm getting old, I forget stuff. So, like, what the heck does that mean? Planets form an aspect known as a conjunction when they are very near each other in the sky. Like, that's enough meaning for me. It's like, oh, okay, I got it, and I can understand what you're talking about. Like, I can go from there. So I picked these up. So these are just good, $5 each, not bad. $20 altogether, right, for 4 books. Not a big deal. I did get something else. I'm going to show you my Goddess Provision box. But from last meeting or get-together we had, that Grimoire party, you guys were talking about Five Below getting one of those their sketchbooks. Let me get this plastic off. I saved it for now. So I went and got this because I saw it. I've never even seen where they sold this at my Five Below. It's like on a bottom shelf in a cut somewhere. I was like, why are you hiding this stuff? I love this sketchbook. I like the color pink. I like the way it looks on here. Anyway, I like the shininess. And it's not lined, which is okay because I'm going to do some stuff with this one. Anyway, but I'll share this eventually, or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. After reading that book, I'm like, can I share anything anymore? But I would like to share. But anyway, I have some ideas on what I'm going to do with this. So I may share that because it might be inspiring to somebody else. But yeah, I got this at Five Below also. But now, on to the Goddess Provision box. So the first thing they sent was something called Cosmic Body Vital Smile 4-in-1 Tooth and Gum Elixir. So this is not something I'm really used to. I've never used anything like this, but it's like oil pulling, I believe, is what it is. I'm gonna get into it because I'm curious. I don't know. I'm try it. but I'll see. But anyway, that's what this is. So, yeah, this refreshing coconut oil blend is made with peppermint, cinnamon, rosemary, and clove to leave your mouth sparkling like the stars. Use it for oil pulling or as a mouthwash alternative. So there's that. I might maybe start with a mouthwash. And then there's this cosmic cacao, raw cacao, ashwanga changa maca elixir powder. So that's what this is. They sent me. And it says the Gut Lab Cosmic. Oh, wow. The Gut Lab is the name of the company. Enjoy an out-of-this-world mood boost each time you brew a cup of this superfood concoction that features cacao, chaga, ashwanga, cinnamon, ginger, maca, lucuma. Sip with intention. All right, so I'll get into this. Honestly, I haven't actually used any of the consumable items yet that I got in this box. I just haven't, but now that I've been sick, I think I will. I think I need to. Anyway, so this is cool, right? I've been looking for something, I don't know, like I can hang on my wall or something, but I dig this. I like this a lot. So this is a zodiac wall hanging. Hang this cosmic decor in your sacred space and allow the astral energies of each lunar phase and zodiac constellation to excite your spirit. I love whoever writes this. I love that. Anyway, so this is really cool. It's a good quality. It doesn't feel flimsy or cheap or anything, so this is nice. Okay. So the Princess Diaries says, I'm using the tooth elixir for dressing candles and other magical purposes. Wow, cool. I also picked up, Dolores says, I also picked up one at Five Below last week. Love your review chats. Have a great autumn equinox witches. Oh, thank you. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And then this crystal came in the box as well. This is the blue tiger's eye, which I don't own this, so this is actually kind of cool. I like this. So meditate with this stone to clear your mind, open to cosmic truths that are unclouded by emotion. Its calming energy will help you feel grounded. Great at the full moon. Then they sent me some cards, which I dig a lot. I like these cards. These are Zodiac Oracle Pack. So it's your Zodiac. Starts with the Aries, of course. Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So I think these cards are really cool. I enjoyed this box too. I haven't tried the oil pulling yet. Yeah, I'm looking for I've heard about it, I've never tried it. And then, because, you know, I'm a girl who loves a good book, they must know that. They sent this little journal. It's like this soft material, which I kind of like, and it's a notebook. It's like a journal notebook. This journal belongs to If Found, Please Contact, and it's just dot grid, and it's got little constellations on there. So this is great to write down like moon stuff, especially if you get in your car and go out and you're hunting the full moon. There's a bookmark. I like this. Let me tell you, I'm old school. Back in the day when they had those book fairs, if I had nothing, I always had money at least to buy a bookmark. That was the thing. So yeah, that's everything that came in this box for this month. I'm excited about this box. I like it. I want to get into this for sure, because I guess I don't know. What are y'all? Have y'all used any of this stuff yet? Like, what do you put in coffee? That's probably not what I'm supposed to put in coffee. What else? The smoothie? I don't know. Maybe I need to make, I don't know. I got a cool blender. I got the Ninja Foodie processor thingy. So it'll make me a nice smoothie. I don't know. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to not. Because I keep putting it in the cabinet and not using it. And I don't want to do that. I want to actually use my stuff. So I will not just keep talking. I will do it. I will promise I will do it. I will do it. I'll do it. There you go. It's done. It's a smoothie powder. Thank you. I'll put it in my smoothie for sure. But anyway, yeah, so that's it. This is the live. This was the most energy it's Coco. Yeah, so, Can I make like hot cocoa with it? Because right now anything with steam seems really cool to me right now. Like after this, I'm just thinking, could I just like with some oat milk and the cocoa? That might hit. I might try that. But I'm gonna wrap it up because, like I said, this is as much energy I think I've actually used in days. And between the Mucinex and the little bit of food I had, I feel like I don't have any more. So this is it. So I'm going to stop here. Yes, it has been fun. This book, y'all know when I get excited about these book reviews, like I go all in. Like I'm so excited about this book. This was a good one. I would strongly suggest if you haven't gotten it, go on and just get it if you wasn't sure if it's worth it. She's talking to you like how I'm talking to you right now. To me, that's how I feel like she's coming across. You said like hot chocolate. All right. I think I'm going to take that plunge and try that after this. But yeah, I'm going to go wipe my face off, put my hair down, and go wrap myself back up again because I think this is as far as I'm going to get today. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. And yeah, if you don't forget to join the Discord if you haven't already. We're having fun over there. It's fun conversations throughout the day. The more the merrier. All right, that's all I got. Bye, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And of course, thanks for watching. Bye.